fine evening. We have, I think, I want to say 30 minutes. Oh, no, the next game's about to start right now. Jesus. After this, I might actually have on stream. Um, but the it is official. The Miami Heat beat the Philadelphia 76ers 99-90 tonight, which also means that the Miami Heat will advance to the conference finals. This is, I think I said this before. I think like the sixth time in the past basically 10 years that they've been in the conference finals in the Eastern Conference. Shout out to Miami, shout out to that organization, shout out for them building something special over there. Um I'm this is not me hating on Miami. I just want to see what they look like against better comp. I think the other side of the bracket is much more difficult. So I do want to see what they look like, but all praise go to them. They earned the right to go on that side of the bracket because they fought for the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So you can't take that away from them at all. They went out there, they did their thing, they handled business, and all praise goes to them. Jimmy Butler looks like the Jimmy Butler that I think all of us were missing last year. We had a really, really, really bad series last year in the first round to get knocked out the first round. He's bounced back to back series where he's basically a 25 point per game scorer, and even on spotty shooting, even though he's been spotty from shooting from deep, he has still been widely efficient. In this series, he looked just as great. He finished his game 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Let me see, yeah, 8 rebounds and 4 assists. 45% from the field, 33% from deep. All around, just a great series. And before that game, in the first 5 games, Jimmy Butler was averaging 27, 7 and 6 on 53% shooting from the field. So, great series for Jimmy Butler. Great series for Bam Adebayo too. I think Bam was looking really solid. Great series for this defense as a whole. Really good series for Tyler Hero. Again, I think the next series is really, really, really going to determine what this Miami Heat team is about. But until we get to that point, congratulations to them. Oh man. But on to bigger and better things. Philadelphia has now concluded, I want to say, their fifth straight year without getting to the conference finals. Let me make sure I get this right. I want to make sure I get this right because this is what really should be the story, is that an organization that went out of their way to purposely lose games. And let me label it that actually. Let me change this. Let me get a little bit more egregious with the title. Because the franchise of Philadelphia, it's a massive failure. Massive failures. Because this is an organization that purposely, I mean, they went out of their way to lose ball games. Um, and they are in a situation where, I mean, I don't even know what they can do next because for one, two, three, four, five straight seasons, they have not been able to get to the conference finals. And they went out of their way to purposefully lose games. In the process, and no pun intended, other teams have done more in less time and didn't purposely lose games. The Nuggets have gone farther in the playoffs. The Bucks have gone further in the playoffs. The Celtics have gone further in the playoffs. And none of these teams have purposefully lost games to put themselves in those situations. And the Sixers just cannot find a way to get beyond the second round. They just cannot. As an organization, they cannot. They can't do that, and that's a shame because this is an organization. And let me get some people up here real quick. That this is an organization that honestly, truthfully, has put themselves in a situation where they should have acquired as much talent as possible because that is legitimately the premise of tanking. That should be the whole premise of tanking. The premise of tanking is I'm going to purposely lose games because I believe the best way that I can acquire talent is through the draft. And even while doing so, they put themselves in a situation where they still cannot make it past the second round. And what's even worse is that the amount of talent that has been in that organization, ironically, Jimmy Butler being one of the players that they had, and their inability to retain talent is concerning. But then the situation that they find themselves in now, where they're going into the offseason, and the player that is supposed to be the two to the 1-2 punch that is um, out in Philly with Harden, they have to make a decision on if they want to keep him on his team. And if so, are they willing to pay him the outrageous amount of money that he is requesting to get paid? Because it's going to be a lot of money. I know for a fact everybody keeps saying that he's going to take a qualifying offer or he's going to take his team option and go one more year. That's fair. But James Harden in the second half of a must-win game attempted two shots, one of which was at the end of the fourth quarter where he had to just chuck something up. There is no way on this, like, there's just no way that you can ever, you're going to sit here and explain to me that somebody is in a situation where he's supposed to be the 1-2 punch for your organization can finish an entire half only attempting two shots and miss both of them. That is not. I don't care what anybody wants to tell me, but there's no way that that is the player that you're trying to set up to be a cornerstone to a championship caliber team. And then we had to start asking ourselves questions about Harden. Like, who is he as a player? What does he provide? Because I've been in rooms with or been in space. So it is official. Um, well, first of all, how's everybody doing? Let me start by saying that. How is everybody doing on this fine evening? We have, I think, I want to say 30 minutes. Oh no, the next game's about to start right now. Jesus. After this, I might actually have on stream. Um, but the it is official. The Miami Heat beat the Philadelphia 76ers 99-90 tonight, which also means that the Miami Heat will advance to the conference finals. Um, this is, I think I said this before. I think what, like the sixth time in the past basically 10 years that they've been in the conference finals in the Eastern Conference. Shout out to Miami. Shout out to that organization. Shout out for them building something special over there. Um, I'm. This is not me hating on Miami. I just want them. I just want to see what they look like against better comp. I think the other side of the bracket is much more difficult. So I do want to see what they look like. But all praise go to them. They earned the right to go on that side of the bracket because they fought for the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So you can't take that away from them at all. They went out there. They did their thing. They handled business. And and all praise goes to them. Jimmy Butler looks like the Jimmy Butler that I think all of us um, were missing last year. We had a really, really, really bad series last year in the first round to get knocked out the first round. He's bounced back. back to back series where he's basically a 25 point per game scorer, and even on spotty shooting, even though he's been spotty from shooting from deep, he has still been widely efficient. And in this series, he looked just as great. He finished this game 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Let me see, yeah, 8 rebounds and 4 assists. 45% from the field, 33% from deep. All around, just a great series. And before that game, in the first 5 games, Jimmy Butler was averaging 27, 7 and 6 on 53% shooting from the field. So, great series for Jimmy Butler. Great series for Bam Adebayo too. I think Bam was looking really solid. Great series for this defense as a whole. Really good series for Tyler Hero. Again, I think the next series is really going to determine what this Miami Heat team is about. But until we get to that point, congratulations to them. Oh man. But on to bigger and better things. Philadelphia has now concluded, I want to say, their fifth straight year without getting to the conference finals. Let me make sure I get this right. I want to make sure I get this right because this is what really should be the story, is that an organization that went out of their way to purposely lose games. And you know what? Let me label it that actually. Let me change this. Let me get a little bit more egregious with the title, because the franchise in Philadelphia, it's a massive failure. Massive failures. Because this is an organization that purposely, I mean, they went out of their way to lose ball games. Um, and they are in a situation where, I mean, I don't even know what they can do next, because for one, two, three, four, five straight seasons, they have not been able to get to the conference finals. And they went out of their way to purposefully lose games. In the process, and no pun intended, other teams have done more in less time and didn't purposely lose games. The Nuggets have gone farther in the playoffs. The Bucks have gone further in the playoffs. The Celtics have gone further in the playoffs. And none of these teams have purposefully lost games to put themselves in those situations. And the Sixers just cannot find a way to get beyond the second round. They just cannot. As an organization, they can't do that. And that's a shame, because this is an organization, and let me get some people up here real quick. That this is an organization that honestly, truthfully, has put themselves in a situation where they should have acquired as much talent as possible, because that is legitimately the premise of tanking. That should be the whole premise of tanking. The premise of tanking is, I'm going to purposely lose games because I believe the best way that I can acquire talent is through the draft. And even while doing so, they put themselves in a situation where they still cannot make it past the second round. And what's even worse is that the amount of talent that has been in that organization, ironically, Jimmy Butler being one of the players that they had, and their inability to retain talent is concerning. But then the situation that they find themselves in now, where they're going into the offseason, and the player that is supposed to be the two to the 1-2 punch that is um, out in Philly with Harden, they have to make a decision on if they want to keep him on his team. And if so, are they willing to pay him the outrageous amount of money that he is requesting to get paid? Because it's going to be a lot of money. I know for a fact everybody keeps saying that he's going to take a qualifying offer, or he's going to take his team option and go one more year. That's fair. But James Harden, in the second half of a must-win game, attempted 2 shots, one of which was at the end of the fourth quarter, where he had to just chuck something up. There is no way on this, like, there's just no way that you can ever, you're going to sit here and explain to me that somebody is in a situation when he's supposed to be the 1-2 punch for your organization can finish an entire half only attempting 2 shots and miss both of them. That is not. I don't care what anybody wants to tell me, but there's no way that is the player that you're trying to set up to be a cornerstone to a championship caliber team. And then we had to start asking ourselves questions about Harden. Like, who is he as a player? What does he provide? Because I've been in rooms with, or been in spaces with Sixers fans, and that bar keeps getting lower and lower. It keeps getting lower and lower, and I don't care what new role that you are claiming that he has on this team and his responsibilities. There's no way you're going to sit here and have me believe that the Sixers organization is okay with James Harden going out of his way and shooting 0 for 2 in the second half of a must-win game. There's just no way. There's no way you're going to explain that to me at all. As I say that, I'm actually about to upload this right now because Harden tonight was embarrassing, and that's the player that allegedly is supposed to be receiving a lot of money, either this year, either this upcoming off season or the next year. And what makes it even worse is that even if they don't give him the money, at the end of the day, this is an organization that has millions of dollars, like an abundance of money, tied up between 3 players: Harden, Harris, and Joel. And that is clearly not enough. They are lacking in depth. They're lacking in versatility in terms of two-way play with some of these players, and they're lacking in coaching. When I was watching this game, I didn't understand like what the scheme was. I didn't understand what exactly they were doing. It was just give the ball to Embiid and let him figure it out, and then Maxi's in transition, and then like that's it. That's it. I don't understand the value of Doc Rivers, and this is not me trying to knock him down. I'm happy that he has a job somewhere, but he is not a championship caliber coach. He's just not. His resume and his career is built off of a 2008 championship run, and even in that postseason run, they struggled to beat 2 teams in the first and second round that they should have easily beaten. Doc Rivers won a championship with 3 future Hall of Famers, practically all relatively around their primes. That's what he's won. Again, not to sit here and act as if like Doc Rivers is this horrific coach, because I don't think he is, but to win a championship, especially on a team that's going to be overly dependent on 2 or 3 players providing a lot of offense for them, and with little to no player movement or imagination in these offensive schemes, but you got to get better than that. You have to be better than Doc Rivers. You have to be. So I'm gonna open the space up. We're gonna start talking, bro. I've I just don't know what the organization is going to do. I don't know how to feel about it. Um, it's actually very interesting to me how this team is just consistently crumbled apart and keep falling. But again, shout out to Miami, man. Again, continue to shout out to Miami.
Yo, what's good, Lo?
What up? What up? What up?
Uh, First order of business, I just want to put out there. Uh, I got diagnosed with COVID a couple days ago, so it is not gone away. Please put your masks on. Get vaccinated if
Mm.
you can. It's real bad.
Damn,
I will not wish
damn.
this on anyone. It sucks. Uh,
Get
Second
well soon,
off,
bro.
I
Get well
appreciate that.
soon. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Second off, Lo, honest question. After seeing both Brooklyn and the Sixers out of the playoffs, who won the trade? If there was a winner at all.
Man, if if the Sixers prize after that trade is paying Harden a near max contract, that's a crazy, that's a fucking crazy prize, bro.
Let's stop. Brooklyn won the trade, and it's not even. I've been say Brooklyn won the trade, bro.
I don't know if Brooklyn won though.
No, they did, bro. I'm trying to tell you, bro. If Ben Simmons wasn't capping
Nah.
about his injuries, we already know that he had surgery. So now it's like get healthy for next season. They have a higher ceiling than what Joel Embiid and Harden has in a conference where every team is getting better. I ain't gonna lie. If Joel Embiid wants to win a ring, he gonna have to leave. I'm gonna just say right now, Harden is washed up.
But if the Sixers are so far behind, I mean not the Sixers, if the Nets are so far, I don't based on what I'm saying, I don't think the Nets having a healthy Ben Simmons puts him in that much of a situation where it makes sense because like bro they couldn't win a game against the fucking Boston Celtics, and the Boston Celtics are struggling to beat the Milwaukee Bucks without Chris Middleton. Like I don't think
Exactly.
any of these
Exactly.
people. Yeah, I don't think any of these people are right as close as we probably assume they are.
That's the if you want to take into account that KD just had a bad series, you could take. But if you feel like he's gonna play like this again, well, next year, then I could see why you say that. But I look at it as like he just had a really bad series.
Nah, I think you could say someone had a bad game, but you can't have four bad games in a row. We brushed it off like, oh, it happens. You know, especially when you're that great of a player.
Now I'm gonna say this too though. To be fair to what you're saying, bro, if Harden is playing this bad, like I mean so serious. If Harden is playing this bad, where we're in a whole half, an entire half, and he only attempts two shots, because that's essentially what the argument was for which call it, right?
For Ben
For
Simmons,
who?
yeah,
Yeah, for
Ben Simmons?
Ben, the whole argument for Ben Simmons is like, oh well, he ain't and he don't shoot the ball. If Harden goes a whole half only attempting two shots and he also doesn't shoot the ball, then nigga, like at that point, what are we talking about?
yeah. At that point, Ben Simmons actually gives you more value than Harden because he could at least play defense.
I mean, if we're looking at it like that, I feel like the trade didn't get make Philly any better because you got to realize the peak of the Ben Simmons era in Philly, they just made it to Game 7 in the second round. Same thing here, but except they just lost this game. There was no Game 7, so I would say like you probably didn't get any better, or maybe worse because we don't know what Harden will look like next year. He could look better or worse. I don't know. I'm betting on him looking actually worse or
I
Yeah,
was
this
about to say it might be worse.
I
That's
don't
yeah.
know. Well, unless he found the fountain of youth. I'm guessing that Philly's going to be a first round exit next year. That's my prediction because they can't do anything to get better because they spent so much money
Yeah.
on all three of them, and Harden he's going to take that player option because he knows
Yeah.
that he's not getting nothing if he
They have to
tries to
pay him,
leave.
right?
Oh man, no, he
well,
They
might
might
no,
take
get
well
the
part of
player
the
option.
max.
the rumor is that he's willing to take his last year and his player option this summer. That's the rumor that he's okay with taking that option. Um, which if even if we say hypothetically speaking, it's true, it still removes the like getting Harden removes the whole premise of getting what you call it of doing the process. If you just ended up with just one potentially generational talent with a top pick, and then the rest of the team is a bunch of players that you have to overpay to keep, nigga, the whole process was pointless at that. Like it's pointless. It literally makes no sense. Now I get it. The way you got Harden was by trading one of the players that you drafted. Understandable. But that player that you traded was so bad that you didn't even view him necessary. So like the whole process thing is completely out the window.
It been
And
a
and they
failure,
and
bro.
yeah, it's just a massive failure. It's a massive failure from an organizational standpoint. I challenge people outside of Tim Duncan to even explain to me when tanking, especially to the degree that the Sixers did, has ever really worked. Because like when you tank, you're basically when people tank, they're basically admitting I'm a bad franchise and I don't know what to do as an organization. Like I can't find talent. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna purposely lose because that's the best way that I can evaluate talent is when it's basically just handed to me. And even in that situation, the Sixers, I would still argue, did a horrible job at evaluating talent.
I was just about to ask you. Speaking of which, Lo, I'm not sure if you know this off the top of the head, of the top of your head, but can you name the draft picks that they've gotten in the past? I say since 2014. Is that when the process started?
Your local
Um,
player.
To 2014.
I think 2020. I think it might be 2013. It was 2013 because that's when they traded Drew. That's when they traded Drew to which call, and they also got Nerlens Noel. So they traded Drew and another pick to go get Nerlens Noel.
Because I know
And that year started Michael Carter Williams in 2013. Because 2013 was Mike Carter Williams and Nerlens Noel was number 6, and that
Oh
was all Frederick
yeah,
Holiday.
yeah, that
yeah,
Bucks team.
I
Yep.
know I know Jaleel
Then,
Okafor's in there somewhere.
but then after that, it's Embiid, and then they also had the number 10th pick. They traded that to go get they traded Elfrid Payton for Dario Saric. Then the year after that, it's the Jaleel Okafor draft. Then after that, it's the Simmons. Then after that, it's the Fultz.
Yep.
Then
Don't
after that,
agree.
then after that, it's the fucking Mikal Bridges that they traded on draft night for Zaire Smith, which is
Lord.
insane. And then, ironically enough, to further prove the point about tanking, the player who has been the one of the biggest surprises all season long in the entire NBA, but definitely for the Sixers, is Tyrese Maxey. Who was drafted with the 21st overall pick. It's 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 ass backwards to believe that you can build a franchise or build an organization solely based off of draft picks without admitting that you are a bad franchise to begin with. Because any quality franchise, any competent franchise within the time of building something special will be able to find a quality player in the draft with a lesser pick, like they did just 2 years ago with Tyrese Maxey with a 21st overall selection.
Yeah. About Tyrese Maxey, I want to get into it because at some point we're gonna have to look at Tyrese Maxey and be like, okay, how much longer are we just gonna say Tyrese Maxey can't play Harden's spot at that point? Is it worth keeping Harden if you have Tyrese Maxey? Because I feel like at this point, Tyrese Maxey is probably a better option than Harden if we're talking about scoring.
I had brought that to some people's attention in that other space maybe a day or two ago, and people thought that I was outrageous that they should just do a sign and trade for Harden. I don't understand why that's that outrageous. I think that you could find a facilitator who's younger, who's going to give you more energy defensively, and who can share not only the financial responsibility, but also or the financial load, but also the scoring load with Maxi in the backcourt. Bro, Harden, bro, he just looked cooked.
Who the
Like
fuck would want Harden? Who would want him?
uh,
Damn, this is
that's
Really,
crazy.
really
I
bad.
feel
that
like
is
a
another
bad
thing.
team wanting Harden.
There are a lot of
He's
like
Bro,
teams that
I
don't
think
have
would
any.
the
not
Lakers
he
trade
deserves
for
more
Harden
I'm
to
not
bring
gonna
in
lie.
Harden?
I know I have no
Nah, the
business
Lakers
saying
trade
this,
for
but
Harden.
I'd rather have Westbrook on my team. I'm a Laker fan. I'd rather have Westbrook. I'm
Nah,
not
but
gonna lie.
Russell
No, you
Westbrook's
would. No, you
going
would.
out
No, you
next
would.
I
year.
am
Oh
not.
No, you
I'm
would.
no.
not
No,
gonna
you
lie,
would. No, you
bro.
would.
I'm not.
I don't know
No,
about
you're
that one.
dragging it. You're
It's getting
definitely
it's
dragging
getting
it.
That's
nasty
definitely
right now.
dragging
It's
him. I ain't gonna
getting
lie to you.
nasty.
But
Hey
kind of
yo,
the
hey, but
That's
hey,
nasty.
low,
That's
low. To
nasty.
he
answer your question
wildin'.
though,
Yeah,
there's few
bro.
organizations that have tanked. The 83, 84 Houston Rockets they tanked, bro, for Hakeem. Like they flat out tanked.
No, I
But
think
they tanked for Hakeem, and look how long it took for them to actually figure it out.
Yeah, no,
a
It
it's
took,
decade.
bro.
And they didn't
It's
figure it
A
almost
out
like
decade.
until
it's
Michael
almost like an
Jordan
unwritten
retired.
rule, bro.
A
Like you
decade.
try to finesse the game like that, like the game gods won't bless you, bro. Cause I'll tell you this, man. The Warriors
Nah,
tanked for
bless the
fucking
Spurs.
James Wiseman, bro. And I'll tell you this shit. That man ain't panning out, bro. You feel me? It just don't work like that, bro. For whatever reason, like you tank, just obviously, bro, it's gonna take you a while to recover. But with that said, as shitty as the Sixers are, their tanks at least kind of made them at least an enjoyable team for the franchise. I mean, they were somewhat in the competition, right? Like,
But that wasn't the goal. Like,
no,
I
that's
think
never the goal.
the point of the tanking was to
and they could
accumulate talent.
have done it without tanking. In all honesty, they could have done it without tanking.
It was a lot of mismanagement by the, what was it, Elton
Because
Brand and The guy was it Colangelo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should have kept the original tanking dude because once they removed him, that dude ended up picking uh, Fultz, and that fucked up the whole shit.
Nah, False
But
was the consensus number one overall pick at the time.
I
to be
don't.
fair, but to be fair to everything, it's like, well, that's another thing is that
Isn't that
when
hindsight though? Like,
Yeah, saying that they should
No,
have picked
it's
like
definitely
JT
hindsight.
or
It's definitely
whoever.
hindsight.
Yeah,
even with hindsight, you can just see bad like this is the point I'm making. When you're a team that heavily depends on tanking, and maybe sure the draft may be hindsight, but along the way, you're making bad decisions as an organization because you've never really built habits with the organization or the culture or the front office that is advantageous of great decision making. Like that is really the problem. So when you have, oh, we're just going to tank and get players, you have a situation like the Sacramento Kings. You have a scenario like the Detroit Pistons. You have a situation like the Charlotte Hornets. You have a situation where you're just one of the Minnesota Timberwolves, where you're one of these egregiously bad organizations that just has really talented players. And luckily for the Sixers, they found themselves in a situation where they had essentially 2 to 3 number one overall picks, and that was good enough to get themselves in a playoff situation. But to win a championship, it's more than that. And so when you're an organization and you're handing out a max contract to Tobias Harris, yeah, that's a bad decision. When you're an
So,
organization
so,
that continues to stick beside Ben Simmons and just moves off of Jimmy Butler, yeah, that's a bad decision.
so you just saying basically it's a chain reaction and one bad decision leads to another because the structure is basically built on bad decisions.
Yeah,
signing off
everything is just
Horford.
built off bad decisions.
I mean, at that point, I mean, people still had optimism that Ben Simmons will develop a jump shot. We didn't know this nigga was just gonna get hurt
that
He's not.
conversation needs to stop.
there
Yeah,
was
yeah. I
still
think
some
that's
But
done.
optimism
and that's fair. But when you
at
get
that
to the
point.
point where you have to sit here and have a fucking parent teacher conference with his mom and dad, and they say, "Hey, guys, you really need to start
Crazy,
shooting, bro." If I
crazy.
got to get to that point with a grown adult,
Grown
I'm
man.
fine with that. I don't need anybody else to sit down and talk to him and try to give him a pep talk so he can shoot the fucking basketball. Like that's it, bro. If that doesn't work with you, we'll just move on with Jimmy Butler. Like that. And what's crazy is if the concept was we're not going to move on with Jimmy Butler because he's an older player, and you ended up with just another fucking older player. It's like, bro, you're moving backwards. You are moving backwards.
Mm.
That's the bigger problem is that they were already in the situation where they could have chose the older veteran or Ben Simmons, and they chose Ben Simmons when they already had both of them on the fucking roster to begin with. So
And
things
they
like that,
re-signed
when
what's
you
his
make
name?
those bad decisions, it's just like, yo, bro, like what's going on? Another great young player they picked up, Matisse Thybulle, is another one that they were able to get. So it's. I'm not saying that these are like franchise altering players, but the pieces that you would need anyway, once you get that player, it's proven that you can find value deep into the draft if like eventually you keep swinging, you're going to find it. But for them to end up in a situation where fucking, I think Tobias Harris is the second highest paid player on his team, man. Like I think Tobias Harris, if I'm not, I'll double check. Yeah, Tobias Harris makes more money than Joel Embiid.
Nah, that's nasty. That's
I'm
nasty.
pretty sure because like his contract
That's
has
wild.
restrictions.
Got one of
So
the worst
it's so
contracts, bro.
Why the hell they re-signed that man?
I don't know, and
Elton Brand, bro.
I don't
Nah,
get it.
that's
But
my that's my
Harden
practice of highest order.
Harden Houdini, he's in the building, man. Tell us about that. Can you let us in on the secrets of the disappearing act from Harden in the second half?
All right, bro. I'm really gonna put y'all down. Like, I'm not gonna hold you, James Harden. Like, I almost deactivated. Like, but no, no, no. You know, you gotta stay 10 toes. You always gotta stay
Damn,
10 toes. But
damn.
what I really noticed, man, like throughout this entire year, he has really lost a step. And if you really tap into it and you look into it, he actually didn't do any work on his body last summer. He was actually rehabilitating the entire time. So he was already, what I'm saying, a little out of shape. The whole Brooklyn fiasco, essentially, where Steve Nash is like, yeah, play 44 minutes for us while KD's hurt. The K thinks. Like I've been saying in the other spaces, man, if he actually continued with that, no cap right now, that nigga would look like Eric Bledsoe. But you know what I'm saying? He had to get out of there. He went to the Sixers. He got a little breathing time, but something he does not look the same. I think we all can agree. However, I think my difference between what I believe about Harden and y'all is that I feel like if he has another summer, specifically this summer, and he feels the pressure, you know what I'm saying? My boy he not gonna go, to the stew with little baby or nothing. He gonna be in the gym. And if he can lose about 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds, get a little faster for me, honestly, he just need to average about 23, 24 points. I think coaching will be the biggest difference for the Sixers as well. Because like the James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll is nasty. I don't think anyone here can argue against that. And that's also something that I did not see tonight. I didn't see that at all. Um, and so I'm saying like there's the weapons are all there. They have their bench needs to get deeper for sure. Like I don't know how they're gonna go about that, but they need to do that. But honestly, man, it's real, man, real dangerous. I don't know what they're
That
about to
cap
do, but
system.
this summer they got to do something crazy, bro, for real.
Yeah, that man
That's
Harden,
how
he ain't lose a step. He lost a jump. Like that's
I'm about to say it's
absurd.
a couple of
he
steps. I
lost.
mean,
He lost a few steps. Yeah.
that nigga lost a
Yeah,
couple steps.
I agree, bro. But like we all can see that all of this happened like because of his conditioning and also because of his injury. I feel like that had a lot to do with it. That's why I've always made that CP3 parallel because 2019 CP3 was kind of the same way. Like you looked at him, you was like, bro, what's going on here? Like you couldn't put your finger on it. The difference is CP went vegan. I'm not sure if Harden gonna do all that, but he got to do something, bro. He got to do something to get back
Nah,
in
bro,
shape.
like his food.
Is
That's not gonna
James
happen.
Harden as
They
disciplined
got
as
hot wings and
CP3 though? I
Sprinkles now,
I
bro.
don't believe it. James Harden been doing the same thing for like a decade at this point. I don't see him changing it at this point in his career. The only way I'd be convinced is if A, he took less money, or B, he came off the bench or something like that. Other than that, I'm not convinced.
I'm actually gonna refute another point y'all made earlier. Maxi and Harden are a great backcourt in my opinion.
Yeah,
We got to see that
better than
a
Harden.
lot. Yeah,
It's. I don't. Let me be clear. It's my problem with Harden isn't necessarily the production. It's the money attached to the production. It's the fact that this team already has the money committed to the team that they're going to have moving forward, and they can't have that much money tied up to just three players. Like they can't unless
Flo,
those
I have
three
a
players.
question.
Like there's never been a situation where that much money is tied up between three players, and the production from those three players has it been basically all-star or better production. Like they're gonna have moving forward. I want to say like $100 million tied up amongst just them three alone, and with the cap being around 115, like nigga, that's it. Like that's your whole. That's it, bro. Your whole salary cap is about to be tied up between three players. There's no way that that can happen, and you don't like get the most out of those three players. That's crazy. My man Huntington. I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce your name.
Uh, yeah, it's Huntington.
Good.
So is a 20 mil is like a 4 year $20 million deal for Harden crazy or
You said
Well,
how much?
you mean 20 million a year,
yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah, year. I
I'm
didn't
about to
mean
say
like
because
Oh,
that nigga's definitely taking that.
that nigga Harden. No, is that crazy? Like 80 million? Like,
Uh,
because I feel like that could be done, and like it would be still be tradable if Harden continues to decline.
But if Harden signs a deal, I don't think that he's. I think if actually if either party signing a deal with the potential of just opting out and getting out that deal, I see what you're saying. I just don't think Harden would do that. And if you're really, I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I think
just because
Harden
like,
is
What other
definitely.
options does Harden have though?
because like as a Sixers fan, I just feel like
I don't,
we're we're coming to like uh a point where we're becoming like we're staying the same, like we're not improving, like, and I don't know what we can do from here. Um, I feel like we might have to rebuild again in like the next 5 years. And
yeah.
it's really trading Tobias's contract in my opinion. Like if they could trade Tobias for like Bradley
but
Beal,
who wants
instantly
him?
that's
but that's
fucking
what I'm
great.
saying.
No,
Y'all
that's
keep
not gonna
saying
happen. That's
y'all keep
nasty.
saying who wants y'all keep saying who wants Harden, but then y'all like Oh, but that $33 million contract that Tobias is sitting on right now, just move that. That just be easy. Like nigga, like no,
Yeah.
nobody
Nobody
doesn't want
wants
that contract.
nobody wants a 35%
Bro,
like
I
3-point
think that
shooter.
James Harden would be traded before Tobias would be traded because at least he got an expiring contract, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also to the 20 million a year conversation. Gallinari is getting paid 20 million. He coming off the bench. Harrison Barnes getting paid 20 million, and he's a starter, but like he's not like any he's not doing anything special. You know what I'm saying? Jared Allen getting paid 20 million. Jeremy Grant is getting paid 20 million, and he's looking to get more money. Like 20 million, realistically speaking, I think even if you're looking at Harden, he's like, bro, Kyle Lowry is getting paid nearly 27 million. Al Horford is getting paid 27 million.
Well, Kyle Lowry does deserve that. I think we can all agree
I,
on
I'm
that.
I'm
No,
not
no,
saying I'm not
The
saying he
bag.
may not though. What I'm saying is if you're Harden, if I'm looking around the league and I'm like, oh, so you believe that my value is near Gallinari while Kyle Lowry is making 27 mil. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's how if I'm Harden, that's how I would
no,
look
no,
at
no.
it.
I understand.
So I
I
don't. I think 20 million, and to be fair to Harden, I don't think he'll be as bad as he is this year going into next year. The problem with Harden is that the money that you're going to give him is it going to be good enough for the moments in which he's going to be valued his highest?
Because
Because
like a
Nah, you
forty
said
million
he's gonna
dollar
be worse next
contract
year.
is crazy, bro. Like,
You said you believe he's gonna be worse next year, and if that's the case, then he's not worth the money.
yeah, realistically speaking, he's probably not worth the money. And in
So
all actuality, he's probably not.
bro, this
40
nigga
million?
Tobias is making
does everybody
forty
here actually
million
think he's going to be
dollars.
Nah.
worse next season, or do y'all agree with me
How
saying that?
much better? How much better than what he is right now is he going to be next season?
He's just gonna be an all star. He's just gonna play like an all star, I believe. Like he's just gonna be like
Honestly, his
I don't
efficiency,
think he'll make an All Star team next year.
shots or efficiency, in my opinion, and he'll be fine. And they need one or two more pieces. They need because man, they bench is thin, man. They need some niggas on the bench, man.
But so that's the other problem is that
Yeah,
the
the
team is
contracts.
not even really even in a situation to spend that much money. That's another reason why this is
no,
such a failure, bro. Like that they did all that losing, and they're not even really in that great of a shit situation.
Low.
No
They don't have
flexibility.
that much cap space. They lack depth. They lack defense. They lack two-way play from other players. Mind you, they've had all of this at one point. They've had depth. They've had defense. They've had
Two-way
versatile
players.
two-way players as role play. Like they've had these things.
Bro, low. Do you before Twitter Spaces, right? Do y'all remember the app? It was like I think it was called was it what, Locker Room? Locker Room app where people
Yeah,
could talk
locker room.
about
Yeah, yeah,
sports.
yeah.
When the Sixers lost last year, there was somebody, I forgot who the man's name is, but I remember this clearly because everybody was clowning him. He said after that series, when they lost to the Hawks, the Sixers should entertain trading Joel Embiid. And I was like, bro, this man's crazy. Why the hell would you trade Joel Embiid when he's not the main problem? Looking at what's going on right now, because it's bigger
Mhm.
than just James Harden's situation with his contract going looming this offseason. You got to think about trading Tobias, and you can't really come out and say Tobias was the main problem. You have to look at the entire roster and say this team doesn't really have a true defense. Like there's a lot of missing pieces, and again, the main thing is Harden's contract. And I think to the point now, one, you can't pay him a max contract, and if you decide to give him too much money, you don't have enough to make a good, adequate move to legit be like like not just a contending team, because the thing about Doc Rivers teams that he coaches, they're already good, but he's not good enough to push them over the edge. Like you can win a first round series, but when it's time to go ahead and make those adjustments against these better teams, you're not going to win those games. So the Sixers, if they're going to keep the head coach Doc Rivers, which I doubt they do, they got to make some adequate moves and changes to their team. But you can't. And I
Now,
think
question
like
for y'all, man.
go ahead.
So in y'all opinion, if they had a different coach in the series, y'all don't think they win today?
probably, honestly.
They had a
How
rough
do
they
y'all
had a
feel about
rough
the
Probably,
Lakers
game.
but
situation?
do I think they win the series?
No,
Not really. And even if they win the series, I just think they're so far removed from the teams that they need to be beating to compete anyway. Like I don't
exactly.
think they're close to the Bucks. Like I don't even think they're like remotely close.
It's like the Pelican Suns, right? Pelican Suns was a series where we know the Suns were going to win that game. But even in those games, the Pelicans were still, you can tell like, oh well, yeah, they have something to work with. you can just
Yeah,
tell like, okay, you
they're
can
on the
tell
up and
Willie
coming,
Green
bro.
was making the right moves, the right adjustments here and there when need be. Again, they have some of the better. They have some guys in the roster where it's like the way they want to play is how they have like lengthy defenders. They can shoot. They got that, but you can tell like they're not the same as the Suns. But hey, at the end of the day, they can still compete with them.
No, but
You could,
you can clearly tell that they're on their way. Like they got a damn near,
yeah, that's
two-way
the
player
promising.
in the
Yeah,
BI who kind of run the
but
team. You
but
got
the six.
CJ, a vet that can score. But hey, let me ask y'all a question though, because man, my go-to trade scenario is always with Portland, because I don't feel like they keeping Dame. So can y'all see or would y'all think it would be a good idea for the Philly and
What are you giving up? What are you giving up?
nah, just send Harden over there
That
for
would
Dame,
never
bro.
happen.
And
That
They
would
just
Harden
they
and
for
never
can't.
and
Dame?
happen.
They wouldn't
That
No
take
would
way.
that.
and
never
They wouldn't
happen.
take
Maxi,
that.
No way.
send
Nah,
That's
Maxi,
not
you got
happening.
to, bro. Send
nah.
Maxi for
You don't.
sure.
That GM will be all faster than Dale
You
Davis,
can't
man.
send Maxi because Maxi's the future guard of this team. No matter how you slice it, that's their future guard for the future of this team. They don't want to send them out unless they're getting back somebody crazy. And I know
Their
someone brought
future
up Bradley.
guard.
Future, no, yeah, he has 2 more years on his contract. That's a
Yeah,
valuable contract to have. And on top of that, he's gonna get better. Last year, he averaged what, like 8. This year, he averaged close to 18
I
or
mean,
16. He's gonna
who do
be
you see as
better.
a comp? Who do you
yeah.
see as a
So that's
comp
what I'm
for him, bro?
saying. Would you rather have him or Harden? That's the question. Who
But
you
that's the
really want to have?
I don't.
I mean, are we
I'm not
talking
gonna.
about contracts or players? Because obviously,
Nah,
like,
like
Yeah, but you have to
you
factor
definitely want to
contracts.
have one player to have most of the ball domination in these big games. So it's like I don't know.
Maxi's normally like kind of an off-ball guard. He moved to being on ball when Ben Simmons was on the bench, but he's kind of like a combo guard anyway. So that's why he works
Mhm.
hard in. I honestly don't see anything wrong with it. That's a really good backcourt in my opinion. The whole situation here, like everybody's talking about, I feel like it's the bench and the coach. Those are the two things
Is
that
trading Harden for bench players, like not bench players, but like
Depth.
role players,
It's a
like
Rotation
lateral. It's a
pieces.
lateral move. It's a lateral move. You're not really going anywhere. That's what I'm saying.
But
Like,
it's
there's
a lateral move, but it gives you more flexibility. That gives you
yeah.
more
Yeah.
flexibility.
for
That's a real thing.
a defender or a couple defenders, 3-point shooters. Like,
And this is
would that
Harden,
be
right?
better than having James Harden on the team next year?
I mean, then
Hey,
you're
I'm
gonna
being
bet
so
that
serious when I
Joel
say
Embiid stays healthy,
I actually
and
think
I would.
yes. I actually think yes. It would be actually.
Only
That's a
the only
fucking
reason
fun
why
one.
I'd say Harden is because at the end of the day, playmaking wise, he does make it easier for Max and other people to like. He just was like. My problem with Harden today was that he just wasn't aggressive, and we've seen this movie so
all
many
the time,
times.
bro. That's what I'm
We've
saying.
seen this
Cook.
movie. Hey, look, I'm from Houston, and I tell you right
Cooked
now,
or not, hey
people
DJ, cooked or not, bro. He just has these games where he checks out for
exactly
whatever reason, bro.
yeah,
I don't
like
know
you
what it
can't
is. He checks out. So hey,
like
so that's what I'm saying. So hey, to the Sixers fan in here, bro. Like a little bit of this, bro. I feel like kind of like you gotta kind of blame Embiid, not necessarily like on him, but bro, I feel like at this point in his career, bro, just knowing him, his character, his like basketball makeup, he's injury prone, bro. Like y'all damn near could have won against the Heat if he came in. Like I know it's not his fault, but there's something always going on with bro. Like
yeah,
the way I saw him
Yeah,
fall on
yeah.
Danny
No,
Green.
no,
yeah,
no.
but
So
this
like
year,
like all you could do all this type of makeup for him, but if that dude is consistently in and out of the lineups at like the wrong times, all that shit doesn't mean anything, bro. Because he's the guy
I know,
that
but that's
holds
like
it all
part of the
together.
yeah,
reason why
but
they
this
got
year,
Harden.
yeah, but
Like,
this year you can crack that up to coaching because he got injured because his coach left him in when they were
Boy,
up
he
by
was up 20.
Yeah,
45
but like,
points,
bro,
Yeah,
like, but the
that's
four
thing is,
minutes
crazy,
left.
this
bro.
so this year's excuse. If I take you back 2 years, like, you know what I mean, like his first 2 years, like, bro, it's always something. But and I just saw him flop
I
his
will
ass
say
off,
on the
bro, and
behalf
I
of
thought he got
Embiid,
hurt.
on the behalf of Embiid, he has gotten his diet together. He's been working out a lot more, and you can tell within really the past 2 years, but especially this year, he's been doing a lot. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like
yes.
he's
So
Like he's
Hardin. So let me paint you a picture, bro. He's 28. Let's say going forward, if I told you that Embiid's career might just keep going like this, where he has like a broken thumb, some back issues, even with his diet together, he's balling out MVP level. Would you be like, yeah, I can see that?
I mean, but you can't really blame that on him. That nigga just playing hard, and he's big. Like I mean, at the end of the day, bruh, injuries you cannot blame that on anyone. Like even with
Nah, but
AD, bruh,
but as a
can
GM and
you
as a
blame
team
those
owner,
injuries on AD?
you gotta put that in perspective, bro. That's the reason back when Curry was spraining his ankle, they gave him that 4 year, $11 million deal, bro. Because they're like, yo, we don't know if you're gonna be out here balling. Like, you feel me? Like, we don't know. We can't
Injuries
commit
to
to
an
you like that.
extent.
Embiid had a
Injuries to an
contract that had
extent matter.
stipulations for injuries in
I
it.
will say, in freak injuries, you just can't control that. Like the Scotty Barnes injury where he twisted his ankle, you can't control that shit. And I think a facial injury, you don't control that shit. But when it comes to just being in shape and being in game shape and being
He's been doing
ready
that.
for the
He's been
moment,
No,
doing.
he's been in great shape.
no,
I'll
no,
give him
well,
that.
not even. I'm more so not even on Embiid. I can't really sit up here and be worried about Embiid. I'm more so on Harden because I feel as if like my thing tonight, what I learned tonight is just like, man, because like, bro, literally 3 months ago, we were talking about him saying, "Hey, it's not fair for Harden to be dealing with the Brooklyn Nets situation. He doesn't know what's going on. He left the Rockets for a reason. Then he goes to his third team in 1 year, and this is how it ends. And it's 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 an indictment again on his postseason performance. Because even if you aren't in the best shape, you still got to be aggressive, and that's the one thing we just needed from Harden. From well, not me. I'm not a Sixers fan, but I think Sixers fans will agree that he will be a playmaker for the team and get guys shots. But you got to be aggressive because if you're not aggressive, what are you like? It ruins everything. Like I'm looking right now. I'm looking at the game on ESPN and it's showing the multiple times where they had all these offensive rebounds here. Like,
Bro, that Jimmy
it's
Butler offensive rebound was crazy.
I mean, he
man.
was right play. Like when I was watching the game, there are times that it's like take a shot. But if him in his mind, he feels as if there's a better play right there. Like you, that's what. Like I don't know. He was being very passive. I agree 100%, bro. But it's like, damn, would you rather him take 10 shots and brick all them holes, or him just try to find the right play? You feel me?
Nah, take them
Bro.
shots,
I'm
bro. What
being.
you talking about?
Nah, like
Take them
I'm
damn
sorry. I'm
shots.
sorry. I gotta say this real quick, bro. I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying my hardest, bro, not to be fucking slanderous. This nigga Doc Rivers just says anything in post game interviews, bro.
you listen to it.
Please,
Yeah,
son.
this
Low,
nigga sat there
low.
and said
This
when I
shit is not
first
even
got
funny, dog. The nigga's
Wait,
a
yeah.
fucking ass as a
chill.
coach.
This
What?
nigga sat there and said when I first got here, nobody picked us to be anywhere. Like he's acting as if like they were underdogs. Like, no, nigga, you came to an organization that had standards and expectations. Why the fuck are you acting like
We
you
were
came to
Fire
a
him,
rebuilding
fire
situation?
him,
we were
fire him,
Two
fire
All
expected
him,
to
Stars.
be
fire him.
championship
Fire the nigga. Get
contenders.
him the fuck out of my town. I don't want this bum ass nigga as my
That
fucking
nigga
head
is
coach.
dumb,
It's
bro.
not even fucking
Why
funny.
is he a top
We have
50
had
coach of all time?
shitty ass head coaches, and then
For
B
what?
Star, we fucking
He's the
done.
luckiest
I'm
coach
yeah,
of.
you know what's so crazy? I'm trying my hardest not to be fucking crazy, but yeah, this nigga Doc made that fucking list, and he should not have made that list. I swear, Doc. Everybody on that '08 Celtics team, their whole fucking resume and their legacy got blown the fuck up. I've never seen it in my life.
By one chip.
It doesn't make sense though, because honestly, what I've learned, maybe I don't want to be like a prisoner of the moment, but what I've learned a lot from just these first few series and what I've seen over the past few years, you can win a first round series. If you have the
That's
better guy,
yeah.
you're gonna win the first round series. But what you really see in these second round series is if that coach can put like not just the players, but the coaches are legit battling to see who is really that guy. And I've been looking at a few. I'm trying to think of like a few years past. Like you know what, you know, when it comes to that second round, can you make an adjustment to go ahead and make sure that your team is in a position to win? Doc Rivers has been proven years to come, years that he's not that guy. I try to think of like last year with the Nets and the Bucks, and how again Steve Nash he ain't a great coach in my opinion, but it's just like if you don't have the adequate coaching to put guys in the right position and have guys to motivate them to be more aggressive when your back is against the wall, then you're just not that great of a coach. Great guy, great leader in the community, taking nothing away from Doc Rivers, but to say that shit to excuse the fact that you know what, bro, you said no one expected us to win. My nigga, you have Joel Embiid who was going to win an MVP this year. You had MVP before James Harden. You were like the third seed, fighting for the first seed.
DJ. To be fair to him though, if Embiid didn't come in hurt, who you had winning?
If Embiid no, if Embiid wasn't hurt, I
Nah,
still
I
think
still
that
had
he would
Miami.
win. I still think that he would win in seven, but I think Joel Embiid would have made it a little bit easier. I will say that because again, this is about the Sixers, but credit to Jimmy Butler. I ain't gonna lie,
Doc
them
Rivers
boys.
just isn't
Credit to
that
them.
coach you
Facts,
want if
facts.
you want if you want a team to like get hyped up and all that. He's just not the coach. He even said he doesn't believe in pep talks. He just wants you to go out there and do the job. Like, I mean, he's
But
not.
that's all that he does. This nigga's a pep talk merchant. That's what that nigga does.
Facts.
That nigga just talks. I swear. That man is he can coach a young team. That's the same reason why I be skeptical of Mark Jackson because I'm like Mark
Facts.
Jackson just comes across as like a pep talk coach, which is that's fine and it works for certain teams. But when you're trying to get to the conference finals and win a championship, bro, nigga, like I need more than a pep talk
If you
of work
notice that
hard.
that's a lot. That's a trait that a lot of these good to great point guards have. Jason Kidd was like that early on, bro. He was a good coach for the Bucks, bro. Like in terms of pep talk, showing them the ropes of the NBA and things like that. Jason Kidd upped his game. Laker fans, whether you like it or not, when he coached under Frank Vogel, and Frank Vogel showed him the fucking schemes, and he put that Memphis the Mavs defense on his back. That's why Mavs is balling like this, bro. Like he upped his game. He learned something. Like Doc Rivers and Mark Jackson have not learned anything but just to talk.
Yeah, these Dot Rivers coaches. I mean, these Dot Rivers quotes are just. I don't understand the premise of who Doc Rivers is on a championship contending team anymore. Let that nigga go coach the fucking Hornets. Let him go fucking coach the Pacers. Let him go coach some of these young teams. Let him go coach the Kings.
Yeah,
Nigga, he
that's
does not need to be coaching a team that's trying to win a championship.
He's not a championship level coach. He
not
got lucky playing with three superstars.
Coaching.
Coaching,
Hey,
but
this is why I be saying though, coaching in the NBA, it matters to a certain extent, bro.
he won
Like
but now he
Yeah,
just
of course.
it's one because the player's gonna take you really at the end of the day, bro. As far as you gonna go,
Yeah, they got to
like coaching
execute.
can only do so much. Like
Look,
Coach can
to,
do
in
the game plan.
football,
The players got to
I
execute.
could argue the other way in a bit, but in basketball, bro, like it's not a coincidence that Phil Jackson had damn near like a bunch of top 15, 20 players of all time, bro, in one.
Three top 10 players of all time.
Yeah, like come on, bro. I'm not gonna sit here like up Phil Jackson. Like I'll be capping on Phil Jackson because I don't think he was the greatest coach like at all. I just think
Nah, he's
he's
not.
probably a good manager of people, bro. Like he's just
Yeah,
a
he's
good
good with
manager of people.
egos.
Yeah,
to,
Zen
that's what
master.
you need to do in the NBA when you got players like that most of the time.
Yeah, but that's what you don't have to worry about the deficiencies in their games. Like you don't have to worry about Shaq's deficiencies in his game. Like even though he couldn't have free throws, like 50% was good enough. Kobe
Get
and
you
ultimate work
assistant
ethic.
coaches, bro, that train them in that and devise
That's what
game
Doc
plans
had.
with them.
Doc had Thibodeau in Boston. He
Yep,
had I think another
exactly,
guy who,
exactly.
he had a
Same
great
same with
bench
Phil, bro. Where he
next to
learned the
him.
triangle from.
Listen,
but
you
the
don't have
but
to
the
know.
thing
Jerry Krause told him to win that thing.
but the thing is with Doc Rivers is that especially when I watched this game, bro, there was no flow to their offense. It was just like give Harden or Embiid the ball and just
One v
let them
one.
figure it out. And I'm like, nigga, it's the Miami Heat defense, bro. You can't do that. And what's crazy is he wasn't even putting them in good positioning. Like strong on the strong side, non-shooter or a spotty shooter. You have Embiid trying to post up with like two or three people contesting his shot at the high elbow. I'm like, God damn, like why are these niggas looking like they playing pickup right now? They're like against the Miami Heat of
bro.
all teams. Like that can't happen. That
how,
should
how
not
many
be
Blow,
happening.
how
blow.
many times did y'all see a
What
pick
I've
and roll with
noticed
Harden
too.
and Embiid, man?
I ain't gonna lie. People keep saying, well, it sounds good that if you trade Tobias's contract, bring in Beal or another player. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think what I've learned again, that might be me being a prisoner of the moment, but these super teams, the age of that shit is dead. Like the
I'm already
age,
thinking about making a video about that because
bruh.
super teams
Yeah.
is
Super
is out
teams are
it's out the
done.
window.
Every single team that is just competing now or on the rise has had their core for a minute and at least knows what they want to do and have learned. Okay, bet this is who we are. Like the whole notion of we're gonna bring in this guy and we're gonna be all right. I don't believe in that no more because it's just not good enough. Like it's not good enough because what you
So
see now is when they get their backs put against the wall, they don't know how to answer back. Not saying it's just for the Sixers tonight, or I'm just saying in general for all these super teams that we've seen. Like
so DJ,
I
the,
don't I
the
don't
thing
believe in
is
it.
though, there's a changing of the guard, bro. If you look at like the players that are playing right now, a good amount of them, bro, are young players. So the super team that we like our generation, we're probably thinking of is like the Heatles, like that type of super team. Those super teams didn't happen, bro. Like the equivalent of the Heatles would damn near be like Giannis linking up with I don't know Dame or something, and he brought over I don't know, just name another like
No,
four
but
like
but teams have replicated it. You've had the Nets replicate it. The The Lakers were able to. Lakers
Those
bringing
are
AD and
majority
LeBron
of those
that
players
worked.
are over 30 though, bruh. Like
Those
that's the
yeah,
thing.
but I'm saying it. But that's the thing though. Half these teams when they
The
try
super
to
team,
create those teams, those super teams, is usually three strong star, at least three strong stars.
but those stars tend to be over the age of 30, just kind of like the Hornets with Hakeem and Chuck in there. But the super team that like we're thinking of, like the Warriors and them dudes was 26, 27, bruh.
No, that
That
I don't.
those type
No,
of super
well,
teams are
when I say super team, I don't mean like a super team that's been homegrown because the Warriors are homegrown. I mean so a super team that's been bought. Like buying a super team now, I don't believe that's gonna get you anything. I don't believe
it,
in it.
it depends, bro. If they're
Nah,
in their
the way
prime and
It
all
contracts
that,
depends
are,
on fit.
nah,
It really
man.
depends
It's
on
They're gonna
not.
give
fit.
too
I
much of
It's
feel
the
like
that's
it
the
can
salary
scale up.
cap.
the only player that's literally worked for because people say like the Raptors did it, but the Raptors they had a core. They just brought in Kawhi, and even with Kawhi gone, they still were a good team that season after. So what I'm saying is
Yeah,
when you buy out a team to say, all right, bet we're gonna bring these three guys here. Boom, this is what we're gonna do. Because the Nets tried it last year, it didn't work. They tried it again this year, it didn't work. The Lakers tried to do it with Westbrook. We
You
saw
can't
what
say
happened.
that though,
but
because
them
With
dudes
there
who?
was
30, bruh. They 31 and plus. Like what I'm trying to tell you
Okay,
is
well,
like,
okay, maybe to an extent, the age may play a factor. But again, this is
yeah, it
just
did because
it's
they
just a
couldn't
theory.
stay
I
on
don't
the
know.
floor,
It's a
bruh. Like
theory.
Well,
It's
they
my
just
can't
theory.
my
stay on the floor.
my theory behind that is two things. A, I think the league is just better. I think the league is just more talented. Where like having just two or three stars, and the rest of the roster just being shitty. Like that's not enough to win in today's game. When like quality teams will have like a 7 to 10 man rotation, and every single last player in that rotation is giving you high quality minutes in some capacity. And honestly, and I understand the age plays a factor in it, but I saw Kawhi and Paul George blow a 3-1 lead, and it's like, oh nigga, like I don't know what the fuck y'all niggas doing, and neither one of them are 30. The other problem is, and I'm gonna just keep it a beam, niggas are not LeBron. They just not.
Not him.
Facts.
Not him. Simple.
They're not a
That's
nigga that
that.
can just go on a team and then within a year's time figure it out. Mainly because LeBron is great enough to where you can legitimately justify building the entire roster around just LeBron. So that's one thing.
I think we're seeing a similar thing with Giannis at right now, where Giannis can be built around the same way. And what if the Bucks lose the series? Like, would you like not like try to get another star with Giannis? Because like when
No,
wait,
why, bro?
wait,
Middleton's
what? They
hurt, and
wait,
they're
dude,
going against the
Yeah, I
Bucks.
wouldn't I wouldn't
dude.
I wouldn't
Why would I
adjust.
do that?
I
Nah,
wouldn't make any major adjustments with
The
that.
the
level of
Bucks
desperation
healthy are
isn't.
like
It's
the
not the
favorite
same.
in the East.
Yeah, it's not the level of desperation matters too to an extent. Like if they lost last year, say the Bucks lost last year and they ran the same team back and they lose again this year with Middleton, then of course they got to do something like super drastic. But like the Bucks, they could lose the next two games, and you really could be like, people will be like, oh Giannis, you lost, cool, that's fine. But like, hey, they're still a good team. If they're healthy, they'll be all right. You look at the Sixers, the level of desperation is there because they've just been mid for the past 5 years while having
Ever since they
a
made the
top five
playoffs,
player in Embiid. Exactly. So like every single move now has to be, and I'm as a fan who's a Rockets fan who's coming up, I really don't want to be in this situation where the next few years you have to be making lateral moves. Either you need to make a move that's gonna put you up, or it's got to be a move that's gonna break you down. I don't think anybody wants to tear down, what you have with Joel Embiid, but like I said, they got a lot of different types of things that they have to think about because James Harden has to. If you keep him, it cannot be a max
Hey,
contract.
look at the space title. I think they should do that.
Hey,
That don't
DJ,
sound
to
like a
to
bad
your
idea.
point though, right? Like so
maybe,
about
man, maybe. But
to your point though about like the need to make moves. It depends on the situation. Like championships buy you time, bro. You could ask Lowe. Lowe will tell you he's been on that trade LeBron, but he's getting pushback from Laker fan base because they just won a championship. If they had not won that bubble chip, I bet you'll hear some more voices saying, "Yeah, fuck, get rid of bro." Like
Facts.
That's
Get rid
true.
of that
That's
nigga.
true. That's
I'm
true.
I,
That's
I'm
true.
I'm gonna try to bring in new people. So if I drop you, don't be offended.
Fuck Joel Embiid. I'm smoking on him right now.
nah,
Oh wow.
chill out, chill
Oh
out, chill
wow.
out, chill out.
Oh wow.
Nah, he's nasty. He's
came
nasty.
mad
He's
aggressive.
nasty. He's nasty. He's
That is
That
nasty.
crazy,
nigga came
bro.
out the whip. Why? Why'd you fuck Joel Embiid?
Kicking nigga while he's down, crazy.
My bad. I'm taking a shit right now, too. My bad, boys. My bad.
What?
Okay then, that's
What
no
does
way
that
to
have to
grunt.
do
All
with you
right.
saying fuck Joel Embiid?
What is this
He
big?
got diarrhea coming out both ends. Cause what the fuck?
Oh wow.
In all honesty, goddamn.
Oh yeah. So if I move y'all down, just
Where does Joel fit on another team if they were looking to trade him? Like, what team would?
It has to be a contender.
He gonna go to the Lakers.
please?
Oh my
That'll be kind
God,
of
yes, sir. Yeah, take Westbrook, please.
nah.
Oh
The
my
Sixers,
God,
the
Harden and
Sixers
Westbrook
aren't
on the
that though.
Sixers, bro. I probably wouldn't watch basketball for a year.
Nah,
Nah,
That's the
I
nah.
I,
Sixers
I
missing
They
don't.
piece,
shouldn't
bro.
trade him.
It's
They
so
shouldn't trade
fucked
him.
that this is the situation that they found him. Go ahead, go Lamar. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that they shouldn't trade him. Like the thing is the fact that yeah, the Sixers have been mid for like the past 5 years because they don't have a bench. That's where they got exposed. And in the playoffs, you need solid bench players. You need 3-and-D guys. You need guys that's just strictly out there to play defense and lock people up, i.e. PJ Tucker, and can hit an occasional shot. But the Sixers don't have that. Like they have George Niang, Matisse Thybulle. Don't get me wrong, Matisse is good on defense, but he's a liability offensively. But Doc Rivers, it all falls on the Sixers management because Elton Brand wasn't doing his job. Like honestly, Elton Brand wasn't doing his job. He needs the Sixers need to go after somebody like Masai Ujiri, who's the executive of the Raptors.
But
Like
what if that may be fair, but I just don't know what can they do because the whole when trading for Simmons, I mean, we can be honest with ourselves, they essentially got what they wanted for Simmons.
yeah,
Like let's just keep it a being. The only other player that they were holding out for was what was Dame, but Dame got hurt, and I don't think there was any legitimate trade conversation. So they actually
they
ended
should
up
have
getting
traded
the
for CJ for real, for real.
they traded 3 players to get James Harden.
fair,
It
Yeah,
was
but
but they
Simmons.
but the point I'm making though is
they
that they got the player that they wanted. So it's like I don't want to make it seem as if like they're just they did a horrible job when dealing with a very very bad situation. The reality is that and to be fair to Ben Simmons is that the conversation that people were attempting to have about Ben Simmons last year was true, but maybe it may have eclipsed some of the other problems that the team had, i.e. coaching, i.e. depth, i.e. really any other defensive contributor outside of maybe Matisse on the perimeter. Like there's just so many other problems with this team, which is why I keep saying like I don't. Which is why even I'm not saying to trade him, but we are going down the path of like, bro, none of this shit is making any sense. Like
yeah, you're
nothing
right.
that they're doing, it doesn't make any sense. And Embiid is not like a normal 28-year-old star. Like his window is small. Like that his window, and I'm actually surprised that it's been open this long with the amount of injuries he was dealing with early on in his career. But this is not a normal 28-year-old star because we all know it could all be over just like that. And so every single year that passes by and you're not able to maximize it, especially to the tune of just second round exits, it not only feels like a failure, but you're like, bro, I don't even know how many more years we can even get like this of Embiid. Like you don't even know.
So you think Embiid's going to be one of those stars who just exit their prime earlier, like maybe like a junior
I
age?
think that's
Like
precedent
Ewing,
because of
like Ewing.
injury history. I think he will not be playing at an elite level past like 32.
I mean, I still think you have a few years, but it's definitely he's not going to be hooping in his late 30s. So I think you
Bro,
still have a few years to play with him. If
Man,
not,
you
I think
got
you need
2 years
to trade him.
max,
I'm
bro.
about to say, bro, I'm be honest with you. I think they got like they'll be lucky if they get three more great MVP
You
seasons,
got
and I'll
two
be so
years
shocked.
max, bro. I was about to say 3 years as well.
3 seems like a stretch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, 3 is stretch, bro. 2 years
Honestly,
max, bro.
Big
but
men
three
don't
I
age
think
well in this
three
league.
more. I think
Hey,
guaranteed 3 more quality years,
A normal
but
organization,
3 MVP years.
huh? But this organization is so trash that
man,
with their drafts and trading, that I just don't think they can
I don't
do
view it
anything.
that way. I think the Sixers haven't been bad when finding like maybe I'm tripping, but I remember there was a period where Shake Milton was going off and he was like an undrafted player. He was playing well.
And,
Tyrese Maxey, you guys found him.
Hold on,
Um,
but the
that's
amount
crazy.
that six
had compared to snatches or steals is crazy because they could have had Markel Bridges. That the Markel Fultz situation. They've had a couple other blunders.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You tripping? Yeah, I'm tripping. I'm
Yeah,
tripping. You're
they,
right. Yeah,
Now here's the thing:
they missed out.
it's
They missed
bad.
out.
the
They
Sixers
missed
had
out. They missed
drafted
out.
Mikal Bridges, but they traded him.
yeah, that's the dumbest shit ever.
Like,
Nah,
yeah,
man.
Hold on. And now
that
this
was so
straight with
dumb.
Harden.
Wait, y'all don't think
Well,
Embiid gonna be good for at least 3 years?
Oh, he's
I
gonna
Y'all
be
give
really
good, but
I
believe
is he
give him
that?
gonna
the
be this
32.
good?
Y'all really
I give him
believe
He's gonna be
that?
32.
this good.
I mean, you gotta look
Yeah.
at the injuries, bro. He gets
Listen,
injured
listen, bro.
every
He might
year.
give you a total of 3 good years, but two of them are gonna be like, oh, he played through the whole season at an MVP level.
But you gotta understand, bruh missed one. He missed his first year. He missed his
Because
whole
of
first
injury.
year. He done missed a lot of the season. So it's not like he's been battling out there. So he ain't got too much mileage on his body. And for as skilled as he is, he got a lot of ways to be effective
But
in
look
the
how he
NBA game.
plays, bro. Did you watch the
They
game
have
today,
Yeah,
been
but when he
inconsistent. They
tries
have
to
been
show off
he
his
has
skill
a
too much,
facial
it's not as
fracture and
effective.
a fucked up thumb.
bro?
Exactly.
Did you see Blue? Did you see how he was playing today, bro? How he fell on Green? How he fell on his own self, bro?
Well,
Like
I think that was
he's
more
already proven to have.
emotionally. I think that was more emotionally than what Miami was doing. Because if you watch the last game he played, he was sulking. He's sad. Like, he gave his all this year and still didn't win MVP. I feel like that was more
Man, you
emotional
just
than what
giving us more
anything in
reason to trade
Miami.
him, then, bro. So you telling
Than,
me he don't have
Come
the
on,
mental
man.
fortitude to be like, bruh, I'm gonna
Listen, you
show
don't
these
got to be
dudes
like.
you're
Hold on,
not
hold
giving
on,
me the
hold on, hold on,
MVP.
hold
Whoa,
on.
whoa, whoa,
This is
whoa.
a crazy conversation. The fact that someone can have a cracked face and a fucked up thumb, and we're talking about their mental fortitude.
No,
No,
exactly,
no,
bruh,
no, no, no.
no,
See,
hold
bruh.
this
on.
is
But he
why,
Bruh
just
is
like,
limited. He's
you just told
limited
me
in
he
what
was
he can
sulking
do.
out there, bro. That has nothing to do with the limitation on him. He
Bro, this
balled out the
nigga
game
Harden had
before,
11 points. Bro, I just look at this shit, and this nigga
Bro, we had
Harden legit had 11
bro.
points, nigga.
Right,
Two shot
right,
attempts in the
right.
second half, dog.
Okay,
Two
listen.
shot
If I'm
attempts.
the
That
GM of the
nigga is
76ers,
that
I'm
nigga
not
is
resigning
crazy.
that nigga.
No,
I'm not
that
answering
nigga's
any
crazy.
phone call
No,
from that
Harden
man.
just said he's
Yo, that
gonna
nigga's
stay. Harden
outrageous.
just said he's gonna stay.
one, you can't
If
question
he's gonna
Embiid's
Wait,
resign,
what
heart.
did
if
he
he's
say? He
gonna,
said Harden said what?
He said
You
I'll
can't
be here. He says
you
he
can't
plans
question
on.
Embiid's heart
He
because he
says he
played
plans
out
on
there.
staying.
yeah,
Exactly.
was it
Embiid could
the
have
player
Embiid could
option
have easily
or
packed it in. He
I'm
could
pretty
have
sure it's
packed it
like
in.
the
My
But
face
what
is
I'm
Aaron
saying
broken.
is though,
Gordon.
why did you
I'm
say
not
that he was out there sulking though over the MVP?
last because he was, bro. He was.
No,
You
All
can
right, so then
that's
I
what the
tell.
can't. If
media
you
was
see,
saying.
if you
You
saw
can
that out
nah,
of him, you
tell.
telling me I can't
it was
question it, bro?
everything
Hell,
compounded, bro.
Nah,
It
there's
you
no
can
was
tell.
it was
I'm
missing
not
out the
I'm
MVP
not I
again,
don't agree with
back to
that.
back years.
You
His
can
fucked up face, his fucked
you
up
can
finger, and
tell.
they were down this year. Well, when they were down at the time, were they?
So he
It
Yeah,
was just a
quit.
lot
So
of
you
things at
telling me he
once.
quit?
No, I
that
don't
for
think
Mi-
that
so.
game, he I can tell you this. He cost his team the series.
Yeah,
That
he didn't
last
like.
game, he
He
cost
had
his
like
team
six
the
points in the
series.
first half.
Wait,
Yeah,
He had
wait,
six
wait.
points in the first half.
in the
It's
series.
just
I
that
got a
those
question.
two
Right?
And I'm not
games
trying to
he
knock
didn't
this
play in
man, but it's
Miami
like
might have been
Nah, y'all
crucial.
knocking him, bro.
I'm
Wait,
not
wait.
trying to knock him. It's
I got
just
a
like
question.
what,
I got
like
a question.
usually when certain players, when they feel like they've been slighted by the media or like things aren't going their way, they get angry. I'm
And
not
being
saying you have to do that because that's
yeah,
borderline psychotic.
he's an
But if you
emotional
think
guy though.
and there's nothing wrong with being emotional because there's a lot of guys who are emotional, but they channel their emotions in different ways. Some guys get emotional and sulk.
But
Other guys get emotional and they channel their emotion. Is perceived as anger, but it's hard play,
that's a
and
I
it's
player by
want to
not
player
know
hard
basis
foul
why.
play.
though. That's a
Hold
player by
on, hold
player
on.
basis though.
I want to
Exactly.
know why
That's
this is a
and
conversation and there was less than 5 James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and rolls today. Let's talk about it. Why are we saying Joel Embiid is
boy,
to blame
that's
when
coaching,
Doc
and we
Rivers
know
is
the coach
actually
situation.
a fraud
Wait.
masquerading
No
as an
one.
NBA coach?
Hold on.
Now it's Doc
No,
Rivers.
I
Hold
wouldn't say
on,
that.
real
Now it's
quick.
Doc
They're like playing
Nobody.
like
Nobody
a
thinks that.
matchup zone out there. So it's like
Nobody.
you can't really run a pick and roll out there when
Nobody thinks
they're
this is
matching
Joel
up like
Embiid to
that.
blame, right? I just want to be sure. No one on the floor thinks this is Joel Embiid's like
Nah, I feel like he
I
got
feel
hurt
like
though
Absolutely
by
not.
Yes,
injury.
this
it's not
game
his
no,
fault.
but I feel like last game his play cost them the series.
Yeah,
I,
like you
I
can
feel
like
like that. His
if
But
you're
play
willing to
last
isn't
show
he
up
game.
hurt?
on the court
Isn't
and
he hurt?
play, you gotta play. You
He
gotta
was
play. I'm not saying
he
you
was
gotta.
he
I'm
was
not saying you
hurt.
gotta play like you aren't
He
hurt,
was
but you
hurt.
gotta go and
He
play.
was hurt when he came in 0-2 and won 2 straight games.
That is
He
true.
was hurt then too, but
yeah. I
had
can't. Yeah,
But
I'm not
you could
gonna.
30
ask
Yeah,
point
him.
You
games.
got to
Does it feel
you
good that he came in and won those 2 games and lost today and lost the
My
you know
my
lost in 6 or
That's
would you
how
know
no, but
that's
It's
how
all
I
the same.
know the emotions got the best of him because he comes in down 0-2, he's ready to play, puts on two fabulous games, and then loses MVP, and then all of a sudden scores
So
17
so
points in
Blue,
the
bro,
game.
I feel like you were trying to make a case for Joel Embiid not being traded, But you also just making another case for why he should be traded, bro.
No, you don't
Like
you
if
don't
that's
trade
gonna
your
get
best
to him,
player.
bro, and he don't ball out, like come on,
You
bro.
don't trade your best player.
You can't trade Joel
You
Embiid
don't
because
trade
he
your
is
best
the
player.
This
process.
this is a crazy conversation.
Teams
I'm
trade the
not
best
Just
player
gonna
all the
because
lie.
time.
he's got an emotional issue, like it's not even an issue. It's just emotional. Like he channels his emotions differently than everybody else. Like this man cries publicly.
Yeah,
like
there's nothing wrong with being. There's
like
nothing wrong with being,
he just channels
showing your
his
emotions,
emotions a lot
being,
different than other players. You don't trade him because of that.
He's
right. That
But
shows he has
crazy.
passion for the
Hey
game.
man,
But
exactly.
Why don't
hey,
they
overly
don't trade
emotional
but
people
you
Tobias
make
gotta
Harris?
they make
channel that.
bad
You gotta
decisions, bro.
when you want to be an all time, when you want to separate yourself from the good to be great or the great to be all time great, you have to channel your emotions and how this current situation makes you feel to prevent it from happening in the future.
But I
There's
feel
certain
like
steps you have
he
to take,
does do that though. It's just not a game by game basis. Because when he lost against
and that's the problem.
Toronto, what he
Consistency is
do
the
the next 2
difference.
years? Nigga was in the MVP conversation. He ramped up his gameplay because he knew he had to be better, or else he was going home. So
I
And he
mean, he
realized,
just had a
he
lot of
does it
passion
season
for the
by
game.
season and not game by game.
That's not how
and he
he
re-
like took out his anger. I mean, you gotta look at Rudy Gobert. This man cried because he didn't make an All-Star game.
Yeah, that's because he's a baby though. Like
You talking about Rudy
I ain't got
Gobert though?
no
he's a
Yo,
bit,
that
Come on,
nigga
expectation.
about
bro.
to go crazy in a
Oh, he a
second.
baby, but
Rudy
Joel
Gobert is
ain't.
delusional, dog.
No, because
Rudy's
look,
delusional.
Joel cries, but then he makes improvements. Like I just said, he cried,
Bro,
but then
have y'all
what he do
seen
when he
Rudy
came
Gobert
back?
on breakdowns? If you pass Rudy Gobert on a breakdown, that nigga literally yells "Sacre bleu" and he fucking
Oh shit!
All
stomps.
Yeah,
But
Rudy.
but the difference
Yo,
between
nah, that
Embiid
nigga, that's
crying
crazy.
and Gobert
Yo,
crying,
that's wild.
Embiid cries and gets better. Gobert sticks with the Gobert ain't
Yo,
improved nothing since he got in the
this
league.
nigga said sacre
Gobert is just
blue.
Ben Simmons, bro.
He ain't
Gobert is just
improved
Ben
Yo,
in
Simmons.
no way,
He's
shape,
a
or
son,
form
French
since
Ben
he got in
Simmons,
the
son.
bro.
league.
7 foot
All right,
Ben
so
Simmons is
all right,
crazy.
fellas,
Crazy.
here's the
That's
thing,
crazy.
right? Who do the Sixers need to go for? Because they need a better bench. Can we all agree with that?
They need
Trade
and
They
the
they
need
need a
they
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 better
trade
need
start
Tobias
developing their
Harris.
players.
in
They
all
need
They
a new
in all
coach.
Need a
honesty,
better bench and a different coach.
they need to rebuild. To be honest,
Hey,
so
hey, hey! The
Yeah,
Doc
I'm
slander
They
honestly,
got
gotta
to
trade
might
stop,
as well.
Harden.
man.
Trade Harden.
Y'all gotta
Yo,
stop playing with Doc,
that title
man.
of
Hey,
the
look, look,
Sixers
look,
kind of
look.
wild,
I
man.
actually got something to say to you. I got something to say
they
to you.
need
This
to
might sound
rebuild,
crazy
dog.
coming out of my mouth,
Bro,
bro,
you're
but
not getting up for Harden, bro.
the
You gotta
only
stop.
trade that'll make sense for Harden, if you ask me, is if they trade Harden to the Pacers for Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield.
The Pacers aren't doing that.
bro,
They
wasn't
need
that
they
a
need to
deal they could have
restart the
Motherfucker,
done?
young
nigga.
Why do
guys.
people think?
We
Hold
got
on,
to
hold on,
No,
hold
I
on,
don't
hold
know,
on,
man.
hold
I'm a
on,
Pacers
hold
fan,
on,
and we
hold
do
on,
some
hold on,
dumb
hold on.
things.
I don't
Restart the
understand
process.
why do people think that the Pacers are so dumb to trade away a guy they fleeced from the Kings?
Because
Right?
we
Bro,
are
trade a
dumb.
Why do you
young
think
guard for an
they're
older
smart enough to
point guard.
fleece the Kings? You think
Right?
We
they're
are
dumb
very
enough to
dumb.
give that man away for an
Hey,
aging
you
star
Okay,
who's
agree
going
that
to
they,
get
they,
that's
they,
very
paid
probably,
smart.
they
how
probably will
much
do
money?
Malcolm Brogdon then. If they don't do Tyrese, they'll do Malcolm Brogdon though.
Bro, you gotta go
See,
for a more
that's
desperate
coming with
team than the
sense,
Pacers,
Philly
bro.
Philly need to trade for John Wall.
Oh
huh?
Somebody need to
hell
trade for
What?
John
Bro,
Wall.
come
Hey,
on, no
hey,
way.
hey,
John
Somebody
hey,
Wall
needs to
needs
trade for
to.
hey,
John
I
Wall.
don't know.
listen right here. Listen right here. That nigga Harden better not step foot back into a Houston Rockets arena again. I don't give a fuck what he do. Keep that nigga outside the Toyota Center. I
Not even
don't
for away
care.
games.
My nigga, no. Oh, wait, hold on. You said Wiggins
Wait,
or what?
I have a
No,
question
for
though.
away
Y'all
if
think?
he's away.
Do you guys think Harden
Wiggins?
can't play with other
Hell no.
superstars?
wait, say that
I
again.
I don't think Harden can play with other superstars. I think that's his problem.
This is a okay.
He's
Stop that.
washed.
Like
Well, then he's
I'm
then
No,
he's
respecting
I
as
don't
good
y'all
even
as
think
right,
Russ.
I
right
Then
don't
he's
even
there.
as
think
good
he's
as Russ.
I don't know
washed.
Then.
about that. I don't know
I
Y'all
don't
about
gotta
even
that.
think
stop
he's
that right
washed.
there.
Yo,
Y'all
no,
gotta
hold
stop
on.
that
We
Kyrie,
right
gotta
there.
have a serious conversation. I
Do
said
not
Bro,
once,
do
but I'm
it's
gonna
that.
say it
Same thing
again.
with Westbrook. If he can't
I
play
don't
with
think
other
he's washed.
stars, he won't win.
He's
Okay,
I
washed.
so
don't
hold on. His argument is he basically just said James Harden cannot play with other superstars. So like nobody remembers Brooklyn Nets James Harden all of a sudden, or at least the first year before his
But
hamstring
He
those
made
injury.
he,
it
those
worse
are
Why'd he
by
problems
playing
that
with
leave?
you
other
don't
That was
talk
6
stars.
about
Why'd
in
he
the
games.
emergency
leave?
every season,
Right.
bro.
Why'd
That
he
was
That
six
leave?
nigga didn't really
games.
play with no stars there either, though.
Why'd he
So
leave?
wait, nah,
He
KD,
didn't
Kyrie,
even
nah.
play
Listen,
with Kyrie.
Why'd he
He
leave?
barely played.
Don't do
They
that.
played
They
like
played
less than 10
13
games,
games
right?
together. What are we
Harden
saying?
has played with stars. Harden has
Why
played
did
with
he
Yeah.
stars.
leave?
He plays
That's
well
what I'm
with
saying.
stars.
He left because they had differences in opinion how they want to run the offense. They said
My
no,
point
ISO
he
heavy
left
exactly.
because
versus moving
My
the
point point
Oh
Nah,
Philly
exactly.
he
Nets
left
was trying to
because
sacrifice his hamstring.
My
Kyrie
why
left
did
because he
Buddy
was
Nah,
leave?
done.
yo,
I
Harden
don't
left.
think.
Harden left because Kyrie was just like, man, fuck this job, I'm out. He was like, I don't need. I come here when
What
I
that
feel
got
like
to
it.
do with Harden though? He's producing. What that got to do
Harden
with him?
Harden left
Harden
because
felt
there's
like
not
he
enough strip clubs in New Jersey.
No, James Harden left,
for
bro,
real.
because they was trying to play him too
No.
many
Why
minutes,
did you
and then
say
there was also talk that
that?
they hated his
Why
play
did you
I'm
style.
say?
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay. Yo, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Is your name Saeed?
Yeah, yeah. What's going down? What's going down, fellas?
What's up, buddy? What's
And
up? What's good?
gals?
You good?
Yeah, Yeah, chilling, man, chilling. I'm gonna be honest. I got
Big fan.
inside source from a Brooklyn player on why Harden left. There's a reason why Harden left,
Go
and
ahead.
the reason why Harden left, and this is from the player, is because him and Kyrie were always butting heads. They never got along within the offense, and Kyrie and KD were doing their own thing. So that's why Harden got so sick and tired because he understood what he wanted to accomplish, but Kyrie was not letting it happen. Kyrie was being a part-time player, as I mentioned, and at the same time, this is from a player. They mentioned that him and Kyrie did not get in law at all in practices at all. There was always fights. There was always bickering, everything. So at the end of the day, Harden did what he wanted to do, but at the same time, the outcome wasn't what he wanted. So I ain't even tripping. I ain't even tripping.
I heard the
Actually,
outcome was exactly what
that
he
ball
wanted,
sack support
but
was
I just
right,
don't
huh?
I'm not
think
gonna lie.
he could play with superstars. Like I just
Ball sack was right, crazy.
Can I ask
Bro,
you a
So,
question?
he has
So
though.
are
I don't,
KD and
I don't
Kyrie
believe in
not
that.
super? I know it
Did
was
y'all
Uh-oh,
just
we
see
game
might
the
be
one.
getting
Lakers,
a game
bro?
seven when this Mavs and Suns,
16
y'all.
games. Come on now.
Yeah, I see that. I'm watching it right now.
Game 7, baby. Let's go.
Don't jinx. Hey, don't jinx the Mavs, bro. Not gonna lie to you.
Hey,
Thank you,
yo,
bro.
this collapse is gonna be crazy.
Nah,
James
I
This
need
Harden
the
collapse is
played
Suns
gonna
to
be
win
with
crazy.
this.
he
They
played
gotta
with
get the
wait,
Warriors out
wait,
of
hold on,
here.
hold on. James Harden
Hey,
played with
bruh, the
CP
Suns don't want to see the
CP3
Warriors,
came to
bro.
Houston. CP3 they won like 60 something games. He
I'm
had
done.
Westbrook in 2019. Westbrook had probably his best stretch. He had his best year outside of his MVP season.
Man, I think it was better than that.
Westbrook isn't a superstar, bro.
right.
Nah. In 2019,
Okay,
2019,
what are y'all
2020. Don't do that.
saying
Don't do that.
here?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't
2019,
do that.
2020, yes, he
Don't
was.
do that. He was a superstar.
All
He was
right,
a superstar in
Mm,
that.
okay.
Don't do
What
that.
coach?
Don't do that.
All right. Let's just say the Sixers do get rid of Doc, right? Who's the ideal coach that would fit the Sixers?
Mike
Mark Jackson.
Frank
Mike
Vogel.
Kenny
D'Antoni.
Mark
Atkinson.
Jackson.
Frank Vogel.
You basically just got great value Doc
Nah, I
Rivers
think
and
the
Mark
league is
Jackson.
moving away from getting like established names or going towards like, ex players who are
Yeah.
more like,
Mark
culturally
Jackson.
aligned,
Mm-hmm.
temporally aligned.
So
They're
Sam
not too
Cassell.
far out of it. No, none of that like, come on
Phil
guys, just
Jackson.
play better, play harder. No, they need like someone who could actually level with
Then
them.
Mike
Let's go with
D'Antoni,
Brad
bruh.
Stevens.
Mike D'Antoni was
Brad
the
Stevens is just, I don't know, man.
He's in the
He's
front
a
office.
He's our
GM.
he's our
He's a
he's our
GM.
He's a
GM.
GM.
He's our GM, but like listen, I don't know. He
Is
did really
Steve
good in the
Nash keeping his
offseason,
job?
but apparently he's not better than what's his name.
I think nowadays the coach. I think you guys are onto something. Like coaching needs to be younger. They need to get more younger coaches in because the league is getting younger itself.
Willie
Like the
Green,
league is getting real young, and you
They-
see, Udoka, you see Willie
Monty,
Green. You got
my
all these
man
younger
Ime,
coaches coming
my
in.
Nigerian brother Ime.
You got
Yes,
all these younger
sir.
coaches,
Yes,
and they're
sir.
relating to these players, and they're getting these players to play for them because they're bringing in new philosophies
All
because
right,
the
so
game is
Mark Jackson
evolving.
There's,
wouldn't
but
work for
hold
the
on, wait.
Sixers.
There's no way this nigga James Harden complained about somebody playing, and this nigga didn't show up for an elimination game. No, that's crazy, nigga.
That
James
nigga,
Harden's a
I just
bro.
funny.
I just
James
don't.
Harden's a
It's
funny. He's
What
a
he
funny
say?
character.
What did he say?
The Saeed just sat there and said he was complaining about how Kyrie was a part time.
Oh, Kyrie.
How do you
I
complain about
mean,
Kyrie? Kyrie couldn't even show up to practice.
my thing is but like, bruh's not even taking over 20 shots.
I would have never
He's a
thought I seen
play.
a day
He's a
where
pass
Harden
first player
had
now.
11
I'm not
shots.
hearing that. I'm not
Who would have
hearing
thought?
that.
Who would have thought 5 years ago Harden be a pass first player?
Not
He
me.
was never a pass
Oh,
first player. Never.
who said
That's why
never?
he looks washed. That's why he looks washed.
Him
He's not a
and
pass first player.
Mm,
5,
And
6 years
that's
ago he lost his trophy. What are you talking about?
He's trying to force his game to be
he's
pass
not a
first,
pass
and
first. He's not a point guard.
he's not.
Says
Kyrie got
who?
him fucked up in the head,
Man,
bro.
I know y'all have not been watching James Harden.
What?
That
Okay,
James
man,
Harden
Harden,
is
no,
not a
Harden
point
he was
showed
guard.
a
out in
point
that
guard for the Houston
D'Antoni
Rockets as
offense
well.
where he would
Harden's
dribble
just
the ball
He's
washed.
for
not a
like
just because you
and then
handle the
pass it with like,
ball doesn't
come on,
make you a
man.
point guard.
But I
You can
want to
No,
know
he
who
average
West
11.
was
passer.
this,
We've
buddy.
watched
West,
too much of
but
Russell
Like,
Westbrook to
he
know that just
reinvented
because
his
you
role as
rack up
Hey,
10 plus
nah,
assists does
don't
not
do
mean you're an
that.
elite playmaker.
He's
Harden
an
is an elite
elite
playmaker.
passer.
Harden is an elite
Harden
playmaker.
is. Harden is very good,
Yeah,
but
like that's you
like
can
An,
the
hold a
fact
an
point
that he
guard
elite
and
can't
still
passer still
balance
doesn't.
playmaking
An
duties
elite
with
passer doesn't
scoring
make you a
duties
point
and
guard.
be an effective player
okay.
that we
That's
know he can
fine.
be
That's fine
tells
though.
you
Like I
something.
mean,
An elite
I mean,
passer does not make you a point guard.
so
He
if he's
basically played
facilitating
point.
and he's an elite passer and he comes up the ball, he comes up the floor with the ball and he has somebody else off ball being Maxi. What is he?
That doesn't make you a.
Well,
Chris
but
Paul is a point guard.
yeah, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is a
Nah,
Exactly.
don't
point
Look
do
at
guard
that.
Chris Paul.
Don't do that.
yeah.
Chris
because
Paul, like
there's
So
more
Steph
things to
Curry's
just
not a
being a
when
point
he's
there's
guard.
more
shooting
things to
and
just
he's
setting up
getting you
plays and
8 plus assists
passing
a
than
game.
being a point guard. You got to be able to control tempo.
So
You got to be
Steph
able to
Curry's
coach
not a point
players.
guard.
A
But
point
what? But
guard is
Harden.
an
All right,
extension
I'm
of the coach
So
on the
Steph Curry
floor.
isn't a point guard.
Steph
because
Curry is a
Draymond
combo
Green.
guard. He's a
I ain't
scoring
gonna lie.
guard.
I'm good on it's positionless basketball. That nigga's an elite
He's a
playmaker
scoring guard.
when he's out.
The only true point guard in the league
He's
right
a
now is Chris
scorer.
Paul. That's
And,
the only
and Curry's
person.
off ball playmaking goes
I don't
crazy.
know
Don't get
about
it
that.
twisted.
Is
The
Trey
only
Young
guard.
not
The
a
only
good?
guard in the league
Is
right now.
Trey
The
Young?
only point guard. The true point guard is Chris Paul.
Is Trey Young a true point guard?
Who?
Trey
Trey
Young.
Young is he a true point guard?
Nah.
No.
Does he make
He's a
his?
true
Does
point
he make
guard.
it easier for his teammates to get shots?
Yes.
But
But Trey
that doesn't
Young
make you
don't
a point
control
guard though,
tempo.
bro.
He don't control tempo.
Trey Young doesn't do what?
So
Come
what?
He
on,
So
don't
bro.
control
what is
tempo.
controlling?
This
What is
getting
Y'all
controlling?
be,
nasty,
y'all
G.
be telling
This
on
is
yourselves with these takes, man, because you don't watch Atlanta
wait. What
basketball.
is
What you
Yeah,
controlling
saying?
bro. Come
tempo?
on,
Like I
bro.
don't
Bro, it
understand.
sounded
I want to.
like eye test, kind of like it's like.
Even with the eye test, you can
No,
clearly see
like
Trey
I
Young
mean,
control
if
I
Is
know
tempo.
what he
Kyle
means by
Lowry
the
a true
combo
point guard?
guard
Is
thing.
if
Kyle
you
Lowry
take
a true
away the
point guard?
point guard, if you take away the point
When the
guard
last time
title,
Kyle Lowry played? Somebody tell me
if you
I
take
that.
I,
away the
do.
I
point
kind of
guard
think he
title,
played this damn
I'm not
game.
gonna lie. I
Bro,
forgot about Kyle Lowry.
point guard
Don't kill
title,
Kyle
and then
Lowry.
just give guys the roles that you talk about. They're doing the same thing. Like it is what it is. At the end of the
all
day,
I'm saying is
man.
get Doc Rivers out of there, and them
Yeah.
boys win this series. That's all I gotta
You
say,
can't
bro.
you can't blame Doc
Nah,
Rivers.
I,
The
nah.
I'm
Doc
blaming
Rivers
Doc
Doc
is
slander
not
is
the
Rivers.
only
crazy.
problem.
The
Listen,
It's
Doc
not
Rivers
Joel
the
Embiid
slander
not
is
being
problem.
crazy.
100%.
You
Doc
gotta
Rivers
blame
James
in the
Harden
Doc.
first
playing
two
like
games,
You gotta
he
how
blame
couldn't
he's
Doc.
score
played.
by DJ,
Role
and
players not
DJ was
doing
getting
anything.
cooked.
Like, there's a lot of reasons why the Sixers lost the series.
A
Miami was
lot.
just
Didn't
a
Yeah,
didn't
more
it's
Simmons
not
play
prepared
only on
Simmons
Doc.
probably
organization,
more?
top to bottom, than Philly was.
Within the first two games, DeAndre Jordan, every time they was matched up against them, they scored 90% of the time on DeAndre Jordan. Like,
Because he's
Oh
not
is that
good.
man.
I
not
don't know
crazy?
how many times do people have to see this man not perform in a role playing role, a
And then you
backup
ask
center
Doc
role,
Rivers,
and you
you
keep.
ask Doc
I know
Rivers
he's a nice. He must be a great guy, a great
in the
locker room
I'm
interview.
presence.
saying
But
I
look
don't
at
know
Udonis
how
Haslam.
DeAndre
Udonis
Jordan
Haslam
keeps
doesn't
getting
play
jobs, bro.
the minutes that this man gets, but he's a great locker room presence, a good leader, a
Look
good
how many
veteran.
minutes he played in those first two games, and then go look at the Doc Rivers interview where he literally says, "Well, we got DJ, so we're
We're
gonna
gonna
keep him
keep
out there
starting
on the
DJ.
floor." Like, what do you
See
We're
mean?
gonna
that?
keep starting DJ, whether you like it or
But did he
not.
keep him on the floor?
I mean,
Hey,
Embiid came back.
Amata.
Thank God.
I'm unfortunately about to end the room and go in these other rooms and troll Harden fans because I can't imagine. There's
Harden
no way
really only
Hey,
had
this is
9
I
crazy.
wish
shots.
you good luck with your
I'm
trolling,
so
my friend.
serious, bro. There's no way this
9
nigga can finish a
shots?
game with 9 shots and no
You
trips
Hey,
taken.
cannot
Lo,
finish the game in a
Lo,
closeout game. You finish in a game with 9 shots? Wow, that's
yeah,
Yo,
man.
Lo, throw me that follow to get Westbrook off the team, bro.
Nah,
Oh
watch
my
That's
this.
god.
because Harden has not changed up his game since the
at
refs
all.
changed the rule.
At all.
Nah, they
Nah,
changed the
Looking for
rules. They
that
changed
foul.
that shit back.
this is
Lamar, he's
crazy,
looking
bro.
for that
I
foul.
just want y'all to all be
Watch.
aware of next year, because when James Harden come back next year on his revenge tour, I want y'all to all know that y'all heard it from
Nah, the
Hardenium
revenge
first.
tour talk is reserved for LeBron, bro. I'm sorry.
Nah,
Yeah, only if you're on a only
Crazy
if you're on a team by himself.
This
I'm not
man
even a
said
LeBron
the
fan. I can tell
revenge
you
tour.
that.
You need something else, bro. You
Listen,
got
Harden
hey,
needs
but Low,
Harden
check
needs
it
Harden is
this though,
hey
intervention.
bro.
bro,
I
hey bro,
did you.
Harden is
He
washed,
Harden
needs
bro.
needs
an
a
intervention,
lifestyle
bro.
change.
Harden is washed, bro.
Let's
Jesus.
intervention.
All right, bro. I'll catch y'all later. Like I said, I might go in these other rooms and start trolling.
All right, check your
All
DMs,
right.
Cool.
bro.
All
I
right.
did.
Peace
Stay up.
out. Peace out.
Godspeed to your trolling, my friend. Godspeed.